Hello everyone. In this video, let us see how the technique of differential equation are used in the oscillation of spring and electrical circuits. First concept, oscillation of spring. Now to understand what is the oscillation of spring, consider a spring where one end of the spring is attached to the rigid support and to the other end the mass is suspended. When the mass is suspended to the spring stretches and attains the equilibrium position. Now pull the mass below the equilibrium position so that the spring starts vibrating. The to and fro movement of the spring about its equilibrium position is called oscillation of the spring. In the case of oscillation of spring, we can deal with three different types of oscillations. First one, free oscillation. Second, damped oscillation. And the third, forced oscillation. In the case of free oscillation, the to and fro movement of the spring never stops when it is disturbed from its equilibrium position. That means the body oscillates here or the spring oscillates forever when it is disturbed from its equilibrium position. Just make a note of it. Such kind of condition is an ideal condition because over here we have considered the resistance due to the air and due to the friction to be 0. Next is damped oscillation. In the case of damped oscillation, the oscillation of the body decreases with time t and finally stops. The resistance to the motion of the spring may be due to the friction or due to the air resistance over here. Next is forced oscillation. In the case of forced oscillation, the body oscillates due to the continuous external force applied on it. That means in order to keep the spring oscillating, you need to apply the continuous external force on it. Not just once as in the case of free or damped oscillation. Now let us deal with the differential equation of motion of the spring on each of these oscillations in detail and solve problems on it. Let us consider the first case, that is free oscillation. Consider a spring where one end of the spring is attached to the rigid support O and to the other end of the spring suspend a mass M. So when the mass is suspended to the spring stretches and attains the equilibrium position. And at the equilibrium position, the force acting on the mass M due to gravity is equal to the restoring force, that is the force exerted by the spring for the stretch E, which means mg is equal to k into E. Now pull the mass below the equilibrium position to a point C such that BC is equal to x naught, the displacement of the spring from its equilibrium position to the point C. Let me consider it as x naught and leave it so that the spring starts oscillating. So the displacement of the spring from its equilibrium position to the point P, let me consider it as x. Now since the mass is disturbed from its equilibrium position so that the spring will be oscillating continuously, at any time t, let the mass be at the point B such that BP is equal to x. Then the total force acting on the mass is given by mass into acceleration is equal to m into g, that is the force due to gravity, plus the restoring force for the stretch E plus x. Now at the equilibrium position, we know that mg is equal to k into E. Substituting it in the above equation and simplifying, so that the equation reduces to the form m into d square x by dt square is equal to minus k into x. Now taking k by m is equal to mu square and rearranging the equation, you are going to get an differential equation of the form d square x by dt square plus mu square x is equal to 0. Let me write this differential equation using a symbolic form, that is using the operator d, where your operator d over here indicates it is d by dt. So the above equation reduces to the form d square plus mu square of x is equal to 0. Therefore, the corresponding auxiliary equation is d square plus mu square is equal to 0, and hence the roots are plus or minus mu I. Therefore, the displacement of a body at any time t is given by x is equal to a into cos mu t plus b into sin mu t. Now let me find the values of a and b over here. So just differentiate the equation. Differentiating x with respect to time t is nothing but the velocity, which is equal to derivative of cos mu t is minus sin mu t into mu plus b into derivative of sin mu t is mu cos mu t. At time t is equal to 0, the displacement of a body from its equilibrium position x is equal to x naught and dx by dt is equal to 0. Substituting these initial condition in the above two equation, you are going to get the value of a is equal to x naught and b is equal to 0. Therefore, the displacement of a body at any time t is given by the equation, or the required solution is x is equal to x naught into cos mu t. The maximum velocity is given by mu into x naught and the period of oscillation is given by 2 pi by mu, where your mu is equal to square root of k by m. Now let us concentrate on problems of free oscillation. Here is the first problem. A body weighing 10 kg is hung from a spring. A pull of 20 kg weight will stretch the spring to 10 centimeter. The body is pulled down to 20 centimeter below the equilibrium position and then released. Find the displacement of the body from the equilibrium position at time t seconds, the maximum velocity and the period of oscillation. So just observe the statement over here. When the weight of 20 kg is suspended, the spring stretches to 10 centimeter. That means when mg is equal to 20, E is equal to zero point 0.1 meter. That means E over here indicates the stretch that is observed in the spring when a mass of, or when a weight of 20 kg is suspended to it. Then we know that at the equilibrium position, mg is equal to k into E. Using this equation, let me find the value of k, that is the spring constant, which is equal to 20 by zero point 0.1, that is 200 kg per meter. Now let me see what is the stretch in the spring observed when a weight of 10 kg is suspended to it. So when mg is equal to 10 kg, E is given by mg by k, that is equal to 0.05 meter. That means when a weight of 10 kg is suspended to the spring, the stretch observed in the spring is 0.05 meter. Now in order to find the displacement of the body from the equilibrium position at any time t seconds, I need to compute the value of mu, which is given by square root of k by m. So m over here is, since mg is equal to 10, so m is given by 10 divided by g, and the acceleration due to gravity, we know that it is equal to 9.8. So substituting the value of m and the value of k, which is equal to 200 kg per meter, you get the value of mu to be 14. Since the body is pulled down to 20 cm below the equilibrium position over here, therefore the x naught value is 0.2. Therefore, the displacement of a body at any time t is given by x is equal to x naught cos mu t, and we know the value of mu, which is 14, x naught is 0.2. Therefore, the required displacement is given by x is equal to 0.2 into cos 14t. Now to find the maximum velocity, just differentiate the equation with respect to t. Differentiation of x with respect to t is minus 2.8 into sin 14t. So the maximum value of dx by dt over here is 2.8. Therefore, the maximum velocity is 2.8 meter per second. Okay. The period of oscillation is given by 2 pi by mu. Substitute the value of mu. Mu is 14. So you have pi by 7, which is equal to 0.45 seconds. So that completes the problem. A mass weighing 4 pounds suspended from a light elastic string of 3 feet extends it to a distance of 2 feet. One end of the string is fixed and a mass of 2 pounds is attached to the other. The mass is held so that the string is just unstretched and is then let go. Find the amplitude, the period and the maximum velocity of the motion. Given the acceleration due to gravity to be 32 feet per second. Observe the first statement here. When a mass of 4 pounds is suspended to an elastic string, the string stretches to a distance of 2 feet. So when mg is equal to 4, the stretch in the string is 2 feet. And we know that at the equilibrium position, mg is equal to k into E. Substituting the value of m into g and the value of E to obtain the spring constant. So the spring constant k over here is 2 pounds per feet. Now when mg is equal to 2 pounds, let us see what is the stretch in the spring. The stretch in the spring is given by mg by k. Substitute the value of mg to be 2 over here and the value of k to be 2 pounds per feet, so that the stretch observed in the spring is 1 feet. Since mg is equal to 2 over here, in order to get the value of m, just divide it by the acceleration due to gravity, that is 32 feet per second, so that the value of m over here is 2 by 32. Then mu can be calculated using the formula square root of k by m, substituting the value of k and m, so that the value of mu is 4 root 2. Since the mass is held so that the string is just unstretched and then let go, therefore the value of x naught is equal to E over here, that is equal to 1 feet. Hence, the displacement of a body at any time t is given by x is equal to cos of 4 root 2 t. Then the velocity is given by dx by dt, which is equal to the derivative of cos of 4 root 2 t, that is minus 4 root 2 into sine of 4 root 2 t. What is the maximum value of dx by dt over here? The maximum value of dx by dt is attained when the value of sine takes the least value, right? So the least possible value for sine is -1. Therefore, I can say that the maximum velocity is 4 root 2 feet per second. Then the period of oscillation is given by 2 pi by mu, substituting the value of mu, that is 4 root 2, so that the period of oscillation is equal to 1.1107 second. And the amplitude is nothing but the maximum displacement of the body from its equilibrium position. Therefore, the maximum value of x from its equilibrium position is 1, and hence the amplitude is 1. Hope it is clear to you. Second case, damped oscillation. In the case of damped oscillation, when the mass is pulled below its equilibrium position and then released, the spring starts oscillating, but the amplitude of the oscillation decreases with time and ultimately stops. The total force acting on the mass is given by m into d square x by dt square is equal to the restoring force, that is the force exerted by the spring, plus the damping force. The damping force is given by r into dx by dt, and the negative sign is taken because the damping force is in a direction opposite to that of the Newton's force, where your r over here represents the damping coefficient. Now let me solve the problem on damped oscillation. A spring fixed at the upper end supports a weight of 980 gram at its lower end. The spring stretches to 0.5 centimeter under a load of 10 gram, and the resistance to the motion of the weight is numerically equal to 0.1 of the speed of the weight in centimeter per second. The weight is pulled down to 0.25 centimeter below its equilibrium position and then released. Find the expression for the distance of weight from its equilibrium position at time t. Also find the time it takes the damping factor to drop to 0.1 of its initial value. Just make a note of it, students. When a load of 10 gram is attached to the spring stretches to 0.5 centimeter. That means when mg is equal to 10, the stretch in the spring observed is 0.5 centimeter. At the equilibrium position, we know that mg is equal to k into E. Using this equation, let me find the value of k, that is the spring constant. Substituting the value of mg and that of the value of E, so that the spring constant k is equal to 20 gram per centimeter. Now let me see to what extent the spring stretches when a load of 980 gram is suspended to it. It is given by the equation E is equal to mg by k. Substituting the value of mg and the spring constant gives the value of E to be 49 centimeter. Since m into g is 980 gram over here, from this expression I can easily get the value of m, which is given by 980 divided by acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration due to gravity over here, I have taken it as 980 centimeter per second. Hence the value of m is 1. Therefore, the value of mu square is given by k by m. Substituting the value of k and m, which implies mu square is equal to 20. Then in the case of damped oscillation, we know that the equation of the motion is given by the expression d square x by dt square is equal to minus k by m into x minus r by m into dx by dt. Since in the equation they have given that the resistance to the motion is 0.1, which implies the value of r over here is 0.1. Substituting it in the above equation and simplifying so that the equation reduces to the form d square x by dt square plus 0.1 dx by dt plus 20x is equal to 0. Let me write the differential equation in the symbolic form, that is using the operator d, where your operator d over here indicates d by dt. So the above equation can be rewritten as d square plus 0.1d plus 20 of x is equal to 0. Then the corresponding auxiliary equation of this differential equation is d square plus 0.1d plus 20 is equal to 0, and the roots of the auxiliary equation are minus 0.05 plus 4.4719i. Hence, the solution of the differential equation is given by x is equal to e to the power minus 0.05t into C1 cos of 4.4719t plus C2 sin of 4.4719t. Now let me find the values of the arbitrary constant C1 and C2. Hence I am going to differentiate the above equation with respect to t over here, so that dx by dt is equal to e to the power minus 0.05t into the differentiation of the term inside the bracket. Derivative of C1 cos of 4.4719t is minus sin of 4.4719t into 4.4719 into C1, and the derivative of C2 sin of 4.4719t is C2 cos of 4.4719t into 4.4719 plus, now keep the terms inside the bracket as it is and differentiate the exponential function. Derivative of the exponential function over here is e to the power minus 0.05t into minus 0.05. Observe the expression, that is equal to minus 0.05 into x. Third one, forced oscillation. If the point of the support of the spring is vibrating with some external periodic force and its displacement is mp cos nt, then the equation of the motion is given by m into d square x by dt square is equal to minus k into x plus k into mp cos nt. Just make a note of it, students. Over here, mp cos nt represents the displacement of the support from its initial position. If the external periodic force mp cos nt is acting on the weight, then the equation of the motion is given by m into d square x by dt square is equal to minus k into x plus mp cos nt, where your mp cos nt over here represents the external periodic force applied to the weight. Now let us use these equations to solve the problems. First problem, a spring which stretches by an amount E under a force m lambda square E is suspended from a support O and has a mass m at the lower end. Initially, the mass is at rest in its equilibrium position at a point A below O. A vertical oscillation is now given to the support O such that at any time its displacement below its initial position is A sin nt. Show that the displacement x of the mass below A is given by d square x by dt square plus lambda square x is equal to lambda square A into sin nt. Hence, show that if lambda is not equal to n, the displacement is x is equal to lambda A divided by lambda square minus n square into lambda sin nt minus n sin lambda t. And what happens when lambda is equal to n? That means you have to find the displacement of the mass when the value of lambda is equal to n. Now observe here, the force acting on the mass m is given by m into lambda square E. At the equilibrium position, the force acting on the mass is equal to the restoring force. Therefore, m lambda square E is equal to k into E, which implies k is equal to m into lambda square. Since the vertical oscillation is given to the support here and its displacement below its initial position is given by A sin nt, therefore, the corresponding equation of the motion is m into d square x by dt square is equal to minus k into x plus k into A sin nt. Substituting the value of k is equal to m lambda square in the equation m d square x by dt square is equal to minus kx plus ka into sin nt and dividing throughout by m, so that the equation reduces to the form d square x by dt square plus lambda square x is equal to lambda square a into sin nt. Or I can rewrite the above differential equation in the form d square plus lambda square of x is equal to lambda square a into sin nt. Now obtain the complementary function of it. The corresponding complementary function of the above differential equation is x is equal to c1 cos lambda t plus c2 sin lambda t. If lambda is not equal to n, then the particular integral is given by 1 by d square plus lambda square acting on lambda square a into sin nt, replacing d square by minus n square, so that the particular integral is lambda square a divided by lambda square minus n square into sin nt. Hence the complete solution x is given by the sum of the complementary function and the particular integral, that is c1 cos lambda t plus c2 sin lambda t plus lambda square a divided by lambda square minus n square into sin nt. So the displacement of a mass at any time t is given by this expression. Now let us find the value of C1 and C2. So I am going to just differentiate the above equation with respect to t, so that the differentiation of C1 cos lambda t is minus C1 sin lambda t into lambda plus the derivative of C2 sin lambda t is C2 cos lambda t into lambda plus lambda square a divided by lambda square minus n square into the derivative of sin nt. Differentiation of sin nt is cos nt into n. Okay. Now initially when the time t is equal to 0, the displacement of a mass below its equilibrium position will be 0 and dx by dt is also 0. Substituting these values in the above two equation, so that the value of C1 will be equal to 0 and the value of C2 is equal to minus n into lambda a divided by lambda square minus n square. Substituting the value of C1 and C2 in the complete solution and simplifying it, so that the displacement of a mass at any time t below its equilibrium position is given by x is equal to lambda a divided by lambda square minus n square into n lambda sin lambda t minus n sin lambda t. That completes the first part of the question. Now let us find the displacement of a mass below its equilibrium position when lambda is equal to n. So only the particular integral changes, which is given by 1 by d square plus lambda square acting on lambda square a into sin lambda t. Replacing d square by minus lambda square, denominator terminates to 0. In that case, you need to multiply a independent variable t and do the differentiation of the denominator. Derivative of the denominator over here is 2d. So the particular integral reduces to the form t into lambda square a divided by 2 into d acting on sin lambda t. So integration of sin lambda t is cos lambda t, that is minus cos lambda t divided by lambda, so that the particular integral is minus lambda a by 2 into t into cos lambda t. Therefore, the complete solution is given by x is equal to the sum of the complementary function and that of the particular integral, that is x is equal to c1 cos lambda t plus c2 sin lambda t minus lambda a by 2 into t cos lambda t. Now in order to find the value of c1 and c2, let me differentiate the equation x with respect to t. So the derivative of c1 cos lambda t with respect to t is minus c1 sine lambda t into lambda plus the derivative of C2 sine lambda t is lambda C2 into cos lambda t. Now differentiate the third term, thereby applying the product rule. Therefore, the derivative of the third term over here is minus lambda a by 2 into cos lambda t plus lambda square a by 2 into t into sin lambda t. Applying the initial condition, that is when t is equal to 0, x is equal to 0 and dx by dt is equal to 0. So when these initial conditions are applied in the above two equation, we get the value of C1 to be 0 and the value of C2 to be a by 2. Substituting it in the complete solution, so that x is equal to a by 2 into sin lambda t minus lambda a by 2 into t into cos lambda t. Or I can just take a by 2 common over here. Therefore, the displacement of the mass at any time t when lambda is equal to n is given by x is equal to a by 2 into sin lambda t minus lambda t into cos lambda t. That completes the problem. Next problem. A spring which stretches to 1 inch under the tension of 2 pounds is fixed at one end and is attached to a weight of W pounds at the other. It is found that the resonance occurs when an axial periodic force 2 cos 2t pounds acts on the weight. Show that when the free vibrations have died out, the forced vibrations are given by x is equal to Ct sin 2t. Also, find the value of W and C. At the equilibrium position, we know that mg is equal to k into E. When a weight of 2 pounds is attached to the spring stretches to 1 inch. If the weight is given in terms of pounds, make sure that you write the elongation in terms of feet. So 1 inch is equal to 1 by 12 feet. Therefore, I am going to consider the value of E to be 1 by 12. So the value of mg is 2, that is equal to 1 by 12 into k, which implies the value of k to be 24 pounds per feet. The equation of the motion is given by m into d square x by dt square is equal to minus k into x plus the external periodic force that acts on the weight, which is given by 2 cos 2t. Since the weight W is attached at the other end of the spring, which implies the value of m is equal to W by g and the value of k is equal to 24, substituting it in the above equation, so that the equation reduces to the form W into d square x by dt square plus 24g into x is equal to 2 into g into cos 2t. Dividing throughout by W, so that the equation reduces to the form d square x by dt square plus 24g by W into x is equal to 2g by W into cos 2t. Resonance occurs when the period of free oscillation is equal to the period of forced oscillation. Let mu square be equal to 24g by W, then the period of free oscillation is given by 2 pi by mu. Since the external periodic force applied on the weight is 2 cos 2t, That implies the period of forced oscillation to be pi. Equating the period of free oscillation and that of the forced oscillation gives you the value of mu to be 2. Since mu square is equal to 24g by W, substituting the value of mu gives you the value of W to be 6g. Substituting this in the above differential equation, the equation reduces to the form d square x by dt square plus 4x is equal to 1 by 3 into cos 2t. When the free vibrations have died out, the forced vibration is given by the particular integral. The particular integral of the above differential equation is 1 by 3 into 1 by d square plus 4 acting on cos 2t. Replacing d square by minus 4 terminates the denominator to 0. Hence, you need to multiply the independent variable t and do the derivative of the denominator. Differentiation of the denominator over here is 2d. 2d into 3, that is 6d. So, you have the particular integral to be t into 1 by 6d acting on cos 2t. 1 by d of cos 2t is sin 2t divided by 2, which implies the particular integral to be 1 by 12 into t into sin 2t. Now just comparing this equation with that of the given equation, the given expression x is equal to ct into sin 2t, which implies the value of c to be 1 by 12. That completes the problem. Now let us see the oscillation in electrical circuits, especially LC and LCR circuit. Consider a LC circuit where the inductor and the capacitor are connected in series with an inductance L and the capacitance C. Let Q be the charge in the condenser plate at any time t. Then the voltage drop across the inductor is given by L into d square Q by dt squared, and the voltage drop across the capacitor is given by Q by C. Since there is no applied EMF in the circuit, then by Kirchhoff's law, the voltage drop across the inductor plus the voltage drop across the capacitor is equal to 0, which implies d square Q by dt square plus Q by LC is equal to 0. Let mu square be equal to 1 by LC so that the above differential equation reduces to the form d square Q by dt square plus mu square Q is equal to 0. Just solve the differential equation so that the corresponding roots of the auxiliary equations will be plus or minus mu I. Hence, the solution of the differential equation is given by Q is equal to A into cos mu t plus B into sin mu t. This represents the free electrical oscillations of the current having the period 2 pi by mu, which is equal to 2 pi into root LC. Now in the case of LCR circuit, the discharging of a condenser of capacitance C through an inductor of inductance L and the resistor of resistance R is given by L into d square Q by dt square plus R into dQ by dt plus Q by C is equal to 0. Since there is no applied EMF over here, hence the voltage drop across the inductor plus the voltage drop across the resistor plus the voltage drop across the capacitor is equal to 0 by Kirchhoff's law. Now, in the case of LC circuit, if the applied EMF is given in the form of P cos nt, then the equation becomes L into d square q by dt square plus q by c is equal to p cos nt. Whereas in the case of LCR circuit, if the EMF is given in the form of P cos nt, then the equation becomes L into d square q by dt square plus R into dq by dt plus q by c is equal to P cos nt. Now let us solve the problems on LC and LCR circuit. Here is the first problem. An uncharged condenser of capacity C is charged by an EMF E sin t by root LC through leads of self-inductance L and negligible resistance. Prove that at any time t, the charge on one of the plate is EC by 2 into sine of t by root LC minus t by root LC into cos of t by root LC. Solution. Let Q be the charge on the condenser. Then the differential equation of the LC circuit is given by L into d square Q by dt square plus Q by C is equal to the applied EMF, that is E sin t by root LC. Let me write it in the symbolic form, that is using the operator d, where your d over here indicates d by dt. Therefore, you have the differential equation of the form L d square plus 1 by c of q is equal to E sin t by root LC. Then the corresponding auxiliary equation of the above differential equation is L d square plus 1 by c is equal to 0, and the roots of the auxiliary equation are d is equal to plus or minus 1 by root LC into I. Hence, the complementary function q is equal to C1 cos of t by root LC plus C2 sin of t by root LC. Now let me find the particular integral. The particular integral is equal to 1 by L d square plus 1 by c acting on E sin t by root LC. Replacing d square by minus 1 by LC so that the denominator terminates to 0. Hence, multiply the independent variable t and do the differentiation of the denominator, so that the particular integral reduces to the form t into 1 by 2 LD acting on E sin t by root LC. 1 by d implies the integration of sine of t by root LC. Integration of sine of t by root LC is minus cos of t by root LC divided by 1 by root LC. On simplification, you are going to get the equation of the form minus root c by L E t by 2 into cos of t by root LC. The complete solution is given by q is equal to C1 cos of t by root LC plus C2 sin of t by root LC minus root c by L into E t by 2 cos of t by root LC. Now in order to find the value of C1 and C2, let me just differentiate the above equation with respect to time t. dq by dt is nothing but the current I, that is equal to C1 into differentiation of cos of t by root LC is minus sine of t by root LC into 1 by root LC plus C2 into differentiation of sine of t by root LC is cos of t by root LC into 1 by root LC minus root c by L into E by 2 is a constant. Let me keep it as it is and differentiate the term t into cos of t by root LC using the product rule. Keep the term t as it is. Differentiation of cos of t by root LC is minus sine of t by root LC into 1 by root LC plus cos of t by root LC, keep it as it is and do the differentiation of t with respect to t, that is 1. Okay. Now apply the initial condition. When t is equal to 0, when the time t is equal to 0, the current in the circuit is 0, that is I is equal to 0 and Q is equal to 0. Substituting it in the above two equation gives you the value of C1 to be 0 and the value of C2 to be EC by 2. Substituting it in the complete solution gives you Q is equal to EC by 2 into sine of t by root LC minus root C by L into ET by 2 cos of t by root LC. Just take EC by 2 common over here so that the equation reduces to the form sine of t by root LC minus t by root LC into cos of t by root LC. That completes the problem. Next problem. A condenser of capacity C discharged through an inductance L and resistance R in series, and the charge Q at time t satisfies the equation L into d square Q by dt square plus R into dQ by dt plus Q by C is equal to 0. Given that L is equal to 0.25 Henries, R is equal to 250 ohms and C is equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 6 farads. When T is equal to 0, Q is equal to 0.02 coulombs and I is equal to 0. Obtain the value of Q in terms of T. Given the differential equation of the form L into d square Q by dt square plus R into dQ by dt plus Q by C is equal to 0. Substituting the value of L, R and C over here, the equation reduces to the form 0.25 d square Q by dt square plus 250 dQ by dt plus Q by 2 into 10 to the power minus 6 is equal to 0. Let me write the differential equation in the symbolic form, that is using the operator d, where your operator d over here is d by dt. So the above differential equation is of the form d square plus 1000d plus 20 lakh of Q is equal to 0. Just make a note of it, students. Over here I have divided throughout the equation by 0.25 and use the differential operator d. The roots of the corresponding auxiliary equation over here are minus 500 plus or minus 1323i. Hence, the complementary function is given by Q is equal to e to the power minus 500t into C1 cos of 1323t plus C2 sin of 1323t. Now to obtain the value of C1 and C2, let me just differentiate the equation Q with respect to time t, so that dQ by dt is I, which is equal to, let me apply the product rule over here. Keep the exponential term as it is and differentiate the terms inside the bracket, so that the equation is of the form e to the power minus 500t into differentiation of C1 cos of 1323t is minus C1 sin of 1323t into 1323 plus derivative of C2 sin of 1323t is C2 cos of 1323t into 1323 plus keep the terms inside the bracket as it is and differentiate the exponential function. Derivative of e to the power minus 500t is e to the power minus 500t into minus 500, which can be written in the form of minus 500 into q. So using the initial condition, that is when t is equal to 0, q is equal to 0.002 and I is equal to 0. Substituting this in the above two equation gives you the value of C1 to be 0.002 and C2 to be 0.0008. Therefore, the value of q at any time t is given by q is equal to e to the power minus 500t into 0.002 cos of 1323t plus 0.0008 sin of 1323t. That completes the problem. Thank you.